In the beginning, God created the heavens and He created the earth. He created every living thing upon the earth. Thousands of years later, along comes myself, Ed Waters, and I created FreeCircle so I could bring you the fireside. We want to bring you truth with integrity, insight that's right, and stories that matter the most today. So climb on in, buckle up, let's take a ride on the fireside.
I want to talk to you today a little bit about habits. Habits really make us or break us. They kind of help define who we are, how we act, how we interact. Habits really drive our world. Habits can be very easily changed, or they can be extremely hard to change. You know, they say there's this 4-step repetition process that occurs. They call it the 4 stages of habit. There's a cue, number 1. There's a craving, number 2. There's a response, number 3. And number 4, there's a reward. So let's give an example of what they're talking about. There's a problem phase, and then there's a solution phase. In the initial phases, there's the cue. Your phone buzzes with a new text message. Then the craving kicks in. You want to learn the contents of the message. The 3rd step kicks in, the response. You grab your phone and you read the text. Well, that gives you the 4th, the reward. You satisfy your craving to read the message. Grabbing your phone becomes associated with your phone buzzing. So it's pretty simple. Let's go through this with another example. Number 1, you're answering emails. 2nd stage, you begin to feel stressed and overwhelmed by work. You want to feel in control. So the 3rd stage kicks in and you start biting your nails. That gives you the 4th stage. You satisfy your craving to reduce stress by biting your nails. And it becomes associated with answering your emails. Here's another one. You smell a donut shop as you walk down the street near your office. Kicks in number 2. You begin to crave a donut. Number 3. You go buy a donut and eat it. Number 4. You satisfy your craving to eat a donut by buying a donut. Becomes associated with walking down the street near your office. So there's this habit forming, a cue, a craving, response, and then a reward. It's pretty interesting. How can we break habits? Well, we have to identify our habits. And this little 4-step process will help you identify the problem phase and then the solution phase. And if you take time and you really think about it, cue, craving, response, reward, you can really get out of your habits. So you got to remember that also in building habits, you can use that same system to build habits. So remember CCRR, cue, craving, response, reward. And that little technique can help you look into the mirror, identify what you're doing, and change what you're doing. That's the big key right there, people. I often say you gotta examine yourself and you have to change yourself. How you do it is up to you. That little CCRR is just a little bit to give you insight, to look at yourself. Really understand why you're doing things, what triggers them, your response to them, and how you give yourself rewards, that satisfaction of habits. So today, if we can just take time and study our self, look at our habits. Are they good habits, or should I look into break those habits? It's important for you to really study yourself daily. If you're going to live your life in a positive manner, you've got to constantly be critical of yourself. Not so critical that you're putting yourself in a deep depression, but you've got to identify where your faults are. And then you can build those points of weakness in your life. See, that it's all going back to that 4-stage repetition. And if you can identify what you're doing, you can actually start breaking or building habits. Free yourself from them bad habits and start taking responsibility in your life and really studying who and what you are. That's going to start changing your life, my friends. It's important. The hardest thing for us to do is break away from our friends that are toxic, because we're so used to that comfort of, hey, even though they kick me around, I'm accepted. That's toxic behavior, and you're better than that. Remember, changing yourself, it's hard to do and it takes time. Start identifying those patterns, that 4-step pattern of habit. Build good habits, and let's start bringing positivity into our world. It really matters. If we start examining ourselves and really want to change who and what we are, study those 4 points, and you will start identifying what you're doing in this repetitive pattern, that 4-step pattern. Once you can do that, it's pretty easy to start changing who and what you are. It always starts with baby steps, people. Identify who and what you are. Then identify where you are. What type of people are you hanging around? And do you really want to be there? Or do you need to be there because of habit? Let's study that and break it. Because we've got enough toxic people in the world. We need to start bringing a few of those out of that toxicity. And we need to really help people. Kindness. It can go a long way. And these habits that have been formed over the period of our life can really be hindering your ability to move forward in life. You can do this. Find happiness by finding yourself. Identify your habits and change them. We all live in this world together, but we all have to remember change starts with ourself. Look at the 4-step pattern, identify your habits, and start changing who you are today.
Well, that does it for another episode of the FreeCircle Fireside. Thanks for listening in, and make sure you come back next time listening to our next episode. You never know what we have to say right here on the Fireside. Like always, share us out. Get involved. Tell your family, your friends. Most of all, get involved. Get over to our website, freecircle.website, and our new edition, podcast.freecircle.website. That's where we house all of our media content from all of our podcasts. Make sure you go over, check us out. While you're there, there's a survey. There's a banner at the top of the website. Click on it. It takes you to a survey for our audience. The survey is provided by PodTrack. It's a wonderful place to track your podcast. It's analytics at its best. Get over to PodTrack, check it out, and please fill out our survey so we can know you, our audience, a little bit better and provide you with the content that you seek the most. I'm Ed with FreeCircle, and we're out.